Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I want to talk about the Draconic Orchestra event, which has just come back once again to North America. So, this event is a gung-ho owned IP, which means it will be returning on a regular basis, so you can rest assured that this will come back in the future, which also means the necessary, risk of FOMO should be lower because you don't have to fear out missing out so much because it will come back, along with the fact that many of the cards should hopefully be receiving periodic upgrades over time. Unfortunately, the Draconic Orchestra event is an underwhelming affair for the most part. It is a 10 Magic Stone event, and at the time of its initial release, you could make arguments that the 10 Magic Stone cost was more justifiable, but in this current day and age, it doesn't feel that great overall. And in all honesty, I'm not particularly excited about any of the cards. Many of them I feel falls into the category of I would like to own it, but it's not worth pursuing or chasing. And yes, if I do roll them from I had them in the past or get them from my free rolls, I'll be happy, but I'm not personally going to be rolling in this event whatsoever. But with that being said, I want to at least take a look at this event, or at least the more notable cards. So one thing I want to mention before I dive into each of the individual cards is that weapon assists have become much more available for every single card. Every card has 2 weapon assists if I'm not mistaken, so assuming you don't roll an excessive amounts of duplicates, you should probably be able to get at least some value out of any given card. And like I said, there is value at the top rarity, there is quite a bit of value in the 6-star rarity, especially with the newer cards, but that's kind of the trend Gung-Ho is following. So, let us take a look at the newest 8-star RAS. So, their base form is just the logo icon, but one of their evolved forms is just an icon of all the characters. This is just simply a cosmetic change. I know people will be asking, what's the difference between them? There's no difference aside from cosmetics and the fact that, in theory, if you have enough of these cards, you could run them multiple times on the same team to fulfill no duplicate clauses. I think that's kind of outrageous for the most part, but either way, why is this card their top rarity? So, it has five attribute awakenings, along with the fact that they are able to be double damage capped. They're not a transforming card. They just come with no other awakenings, along with the fact that they have a gargantuan amount of HP stat. They have the voice awakening, which will push that even higher. Just big stats all around, able to hit stupendously hard, and their active skill gives you 5 bonus combos for a single turn, gives you 5 times attack for all cards, and then for a single turn, you change the board to 7x6. In the future, we are going to be having more board shrinkages, mechanics, so this can be a way to overcome those respective mechanics. They hit incredibly hard. They are able to let you easily overcome any combo shield or any spawn that does a massive number of negative combos. Giving yourself a bonus combo active skill doesn't actually overwrite negative combos. It just kind of tries to cancel each other out. So if you get 5 bonus combos, you have 6 negative combos, you have 1 negative combo net. Point of the matter is they can hit incredibly hard for rainbow-based teams. As a leader, if you utilize dragon-type spawns, you are going to enjoy 4 times stats, which means you have the RCV or healing component, you have the health component, and that also means you technically don't need to, actually match rainbow activation every single turn because you have the flat HP multiplier, so assuming there's not gravity-based hits, you can tank this happily. You get bonus orb movement time. You also have the chance to give yourself bonus combos when you actually hit 5 or more attributes. So obviously you want to have the rainbow activation every time, which could be a little difficult. So I feel like maybe they'd be better off as an incredibly hard-hitting sub that has some utility. But again, I think they're nice. Their weapon assist gives you guard break with actually skill boost and skill bind resist, so it's a little bit more interesting in that sense. The next card is MyON, and she is one of the orb skin cards. And again, I think she is pretty strong. She transforms after 22 turns and then has solid stats overall, which is kind of like every card nowadays. But they have 4 10 combo awakenings of single VDP and 2 enhanced water combo awakenings. And their active skill is a 2-turn cooldown that removes orb blocks and then gives you fire and light orbs to water, so massively floods your board of water orbs. And their leader skill gives you 75% damage reduction, which is in turn 4 times effect health for one particular leader, with 2+ water combos. And then you get 20 or 40 times attack multiplier with 2 or 3+ water combos. So a gargantuan amount of damage when you actually hit 3 water combos. 40 times attack multiplier is incredibly high in this day and age. And she definitely will be able to deal meaningful damage in super gravity dungeons in conjunction with her high attack stat and the fact that she has 4 10-combo awakenings, maybe you could possibly utilize like looping Skyfalls. You have a way to make heart orbs at least, so you can actually heal every once in a while, which might be nice for MyON. Maybe you just asymmetrically pair. Maybe use someone like, say, Natsuro, who gives you some bonus combos, because when you think about it, on a 6x5 board, you're probably not going to be hitting 10 combos on a regular basis. You're just not, because you need bonus combos. So I feel like they need some sort of 7x6ing to really work out well, and I feel like Natsuro is just never a bad choice. Obviously, you have to, like, blob a little bit, but on such a big board, and the fact that MyON can greatly flood your board, you're probably going to be okay. And even if only 2 water combos, you're going to be dealing large amounts of damage, but on 7x6, if you have enough orb generations, maybe you have water orb Skyfalls, you should be able to hit the 3 combos with that row, and bam, explosive damage for absolutely every single card on your given team. I like it because it's blue. I don't own the card, unfortunately, but I would like to possibly play around with it. Maybe, like I said, I could asymmetrically pair myself. And then, like I said, every card has 2 weapon assists, and they're quite strong. They either give you a God Killer and enhanced water combos, which gives you a big shield, RCV, and then 2 turns of haste for their first one, or their other form is a skill boost, 7 combo, and team HP, team RCV. Just from an Awakenings point of view, pretty great overall, and everything is giving dragon typing if that's relevant to your teams. But the active skill gives you 2 turns of 7x6, voids attribute absorption and damage absorption for 2 turns. So a pretty great weapon is this. Like, just a valuable card overall. Like, once she loses her luster, so to speak, in her transforming form, I feel like these weapon assists will be meaningful, especially the second one. Like, you always need attribute and damage absorption in some way, shape, or form. Why not give the owning card double damage with a 7 combo awakening? Pretty powerful stuff all around. And then for the rest of the 7 stars, I feel like they're just like, it's okay. It's nice if I own them, but I'm really not going out of my way to necessarily monster exchange for them. And unfortunately, MyON is an orb skin card, which means you have to purchase her, which is truly unfortunate. One card I think that has maybe some interest is Minako with her weapon assist, her second weapon assist, because it's 3 turns of damage absorption cancellation and full bind and awoken bind clearing with enhanced hard orb, 2 seconds of movement time. I feel like maybe this weapon assist could have some value in that sense because it does cover multiple mechanics. I guess at the same time, say for like Shura 3, if you're a wood-based team or any team that needs to actually match wood orbs, this could be useful because on floor 6 they have damage absorption and wood unmatchable at the same time. This active skill can technically solve both problems, so maybe in instances like that where there's like multiple overlapping mechanics, it can be good, but increasing your healing potential is never a bad thing, along with copious amounts of movement time. But then I feel like for the rest of the other 7 stars, sure, maybe Mariel's new weapon assist with the light sub-attribute VDP for any VDP light-based team, like, say, Saphira, maybe that could definitely be useful. It gives you haste as well, so it's not bad. But I don't get particularly excited about any of these other 7-star cards. If I roll them, cool. Am I going to use them? I don't know is the problem. Fior has, a nice 5-attribute awakening, which is never bad. It's got a long enough cooldown that you can justify it. It gives you some orb enhancement. Again, I said it's nice to have, but is it something I really want to monster exchange for? Not particularly. And then their active skills are just not as great. It just feels overpriced. Lutina's still that 1-turn cooldown card, but it's only double 10 combo with a 7 combo. Nothing spectacular. Her weapon assist, I guess the second weapon assist could be good for mono water teams if you want to stack your damage with double team HP, 2 enhanced water combos with a 3-turn delay, so not terrible. Eva, I guess if those killers can line up, sure, maybe. Weapon assist gives you a 4-attribute awakening with a wood sub-attribute. I'm not a big fan of rainbow-based cards giving sub-attribute colors because it's only 15% damage, and if it changes, if they had another useful sub-attribute that was a different color than their main attribute, you're going from 30% to 15%, so it's definitely a downgrade in that sense there. Obviously, the 4-attribute awakening is meaningful. It does give you nice bulk, but again, these are kind of nice to have. Do I really need to have it? That sort of thing. Marthas, I guess you can make arguments, could be useful in TPA oriented teams as a cleric with a 7-turn awoken skill bind cooldown. It's pretty long for awoken skill bind, which is kind of awkward. It does give you an attack buff. He does have large damage output, especially with that monstrous attack stat. 8 TPAs with a 10 combo, pretty hard hitting. No sub attribute, unfortunately, but you probably could find a workaround for that. And they can take the unmatchable latent, so they can obviously clear the unmatchables. Their weapon assist, their original guitar is double team HP with single skill boost and TPA. Again, maybe that could be useful in TPA teams. their new weapon assist is a light sub-attribute with double TPA. So when you think about it, maybe Marthas would inherit his own weapon assist and suddenly he's much cooler in that regards. But again, not worth chasing, I feel. For the new Ideal, she's actually one of the hardest cards to roll. You can't trade her for her, you can't buy her, and Fantastic somehow rolled her, so it's a pretty good time for Fantastic overall. But their kit revolves being a unique rainbow-based leader. So after 3 turns of waiting, you can transform yourself, and then in their transform state, they have 4 attribute awakenings, so meaningful amounts of personal damage there. I mean 5 attribute awakenings, significantly higher personal damage multiplier. Their active skill gives you a board unlock and changes the whole board to all 5 attributes and heal orbs at random. And then all orbs are enhanced. So that gets rid of negative orbs. It greatly increases the damage output as well. And it has synergy with her leader skill. Her leader skill gives you 2.2 times HP for dragon types. So there's no recovery or damage reduction multiplier, which you should be mindful about. And then it gives you +2 combos for every linked 5 orbs. It's not a scaling attack multiplier, it's a scaling combo multiplier. And then it reduces damage and gives you 35 times attack with 16 plus combos. 35 times attack is actually a gargantuan amount for a leader skill. It's incredibly high. So for rainbow-based teams, everyone's going to be hitting incredibly hard. And with that active skill, you get a perfect 5, like on a 6x5 board, you get 5 of every type of orb. And that gives you 6 combos, including a follow-up attack. So their leader skill lacks auto follow-up attack, but just bring a real follow-up attack and you're making that column of hearts anyways. And when you think about it, you are going to be matching columns, or like a single column and a bunch of rows stacking upward. And if you do so, you get 6 combos, but then with dual leaders, you gain an extra 4 combos times 6. So 24 combos plus 6 is 30. That's excessive. Even if you think about it, you can asymmetrically pair her if you really wanted to, because you get 6 combos from the board, and then you also get plus 12 combos. 6 plus 12 is 18, which is more than the 16 plus necessary for her leader skill. You can also make the argument that maybe instead of matching like a follow-up attack, you match 4 heart orbs to, you know, have like the enhanced Heart of Awakening trigger and heal yourself more, because remember, it's a scaling combo multiplier. It's not a scaling attack multiplier. So your attack multiplier is intact as long as you hit the 16 combos. So you can make, with dual leaders, like you can find ways to make it work out is my point. So I think it's a cool concept. Like you hit significantly high combo count, which in turn boosts your damage output and healing output. Because one thing that people kind of possibly like overlook is that more combos does increase your damage output. And this is a colossal amount of combos being added. But the fun doesn't stop there if you're lucky enough to roll more of her. One thing I want to mention is Blue Fagin Rye can technically be a 3rd card to fill in for this looping active skill, so to speak. With dual Ideal leaders and a Blue Fagin Rye, you have 3 cards with a 3-turn cooldown that makes you that specific type of board. Because Blue Fagin Rye does also spawn you 5 of everything. Just be mindful of the fact that Blue Fagin Rye has a lot of crosses, which means you're not going to be hitting as many 5 matches as you necessarily could have. But again, of dual leaders, you probably can overcome that hurdle because there's so many bonus combos already. So even then, the big combo attack multiplier maybe makes Fagin Rise hit hard either way. Regardless of all that, if you have multiple Ideals, her weapon assists are pretty stacked as well. Her first weapon assist is a 5 attribute awakening with 2 team RCVs and tape resist. So right away, pretty great awakenings, and it gives you a 2-turn delay, which is never going to be a bad thing to help other cards transform. And her other weapon assist is a 4 attribute awakening with enhanced water, fire, wood, light, and dark orbs. So significant amount of damage output for every card in theory, along with the owning card. And then the active skill is remove the orb blocks, change it to all attribute plus heal, and that's 4 combos and enhancement. These are strong weapon assists for rainbow-based teams. So if you for some reason can't find any value out of this given card with her active skill or her leader skill, maybe these weapon assists you might like. But even then, you can make use of her on like LJ Kitty teams, let's say, because you are, yes, it's transforming, so you don't get as much upfront value beyond the delay, but she is incredibly hard hitting. Single capping on her main and sub attribute should be relatively easy on LJ Kitty teams as well. So, something to keep in mind. It's a pretty ideal card, so to speak, but again, rolling it is going to be a little disappointing. For the other Orb Skin cards in this event, we have Viona, who is a 10 combo with full blind resist and a bunch of L's and a VDP. And the active skill fully clears all unmatchable and gives you full awoken skill bind clear. So a full cleric on a 4-turn cooldown is pretty great, while also hitting quite hard. You get to remove orb blocks and change the whole board to water, dark, and heal. This active skill has so many good things going for it, it's never going to be bad. So if you can bring Viona along, she does give you 3 turns of haste upon transforming. Life can be potentially pretty sweet. But if you can't find any value out of her transforming form, her weapon assists again are strong. They give you enhanced water combos in both forms. The first one gives you triple team RCVs and gives you 75% damage reduction for 2 turns and 2 turns of attribute absorption. Or her new weapon assist gives you voiding damage absorption for 5 turns. 5 turns is a colossally long time, and there will be instances where the overlapping of spawns is a bit too spread out for like a 2 or 3 turn, and maybe this can make your life better. It gives you 2 seconds of orb movement time and the water sub-attribute, along with a delay if that's relevant. So it's a pretty great weapon assist, especially for mono water teams. I just feel as a general statement, maybe I'm biased because I like blue, but mono water cards have great options for water sub-attribute. Like we have like the flag from 7, like from the Kingdoms Club with a 7 combo and team HP. We have this one with copious amounts of movement time and the L. Like I think water says pretty good options for like water sub-attribute donations. For Durod, their transforming form requires 18 turns to transform, and then they obviously hit incredibly hard with triple 10, attacker, physical, and healer killer. On a 2-turn cooldown, you clear all unmatchable, remove orb block, and get 3 dark orbs at random. This is quite meaningful and valuable, like when you think about it, because it's going to solve mechanics by removing orb blocks. It gives you orb generation, never a bad thing overall. Their leader skill is like kind of average, I'd say, in this day and age. Nothing particularly special. For their weapon assists, their first one is Bind Immunity, Skill Boost, 40% Poison Resist, and Attack while below 50%. So a significant damage output for the owning card if you are able to get your health lower. It also gives you a Roulette and fully clears Unmatchable and Bind and Awoken Bind. So it's a full Cleric style active skill. So again, you could inherit this on top of your Cleric to give them a Cleric style active skill regardless of which active charges up, and more personal damage as well. Their other weapon assist gives you Dark sub-attribute as well as 2 enhanced Dark combos and a team HP awakening. So again, it's nice for these mono Dark teams, especially if you're matching multiple Dark combos, because the damage output does get much higher. For the most part, I'd be much more inclined to pursue their weapon assist as opposed to their base form. And this is an Orb Skin card, so in theory you could purchase it. For the other 6-star cards, the original 6-star cards, I think they're like okay. Like I guess Tilly's like one of her weapon assists. It gives you something interesting in her original. It's skill boost, double team HP. It gives you on a blisteringly short 6-turn cooldown 3 turns of damage absorption cancellation, along with Hard Orb Skyfall and 2 times RCV. That is pretty spectacular when you think about it. A 3-turn damage absorption on a 6-turn cooldown. This is like pretty much unprecedented. I was like thinking, is this a typo? And I looked and I'm like, oh, it's actually right. Like, I guess that's pretty interesting when I think about it overall. But again, like the other 6 stars, like I guess Errand is being used for like farming like the Colosseum or the event dungeon, like with Shiva Dragon swiping. So I guess he has merits there. It does have Rose, Bulk, Cloud Resist for his first weapon assist. Again, like these weapon assists are never bad. It's just like, I feel like it's not worth chasing these cards. But let's take a look at the newer 6-star cards, which are possibly some of the new chases, and they're part of, they form a band in this case. But either way, for Sonia Clea, after 23 turns, you transform herself into quad 10 combo with a follow-up attack. So that follow-up attack can let her use the Cloud and Tape Resist, or the Cloud Tape clearing 6-slot Latent Awakening, which can be useful for any team that utilizes 7x6 because you can clear it more naturally. The active skill on a 3-turn cooldown gives you an orb movement time for 3 turns, so a looping movement time buff. Great on 7x6 when you don't have movement time. RCV for 3 turns based on the number of dragon types on your team. So the more dragon types on your team, the more your RCV multiplier. This can be a fantastic way to just add bulk to any given team. And in theory, because it's not like making water orbs, it could be utilized on any given team. Rainbow-based teams that want like looping movement time and looping RCV buff can utilize this for sure. You can maybe make some arguments that mono dark teams might like it. And remember, with a 10,000 stat HP, like 10,000 HP stat, pretty bulky overall. For her weapon assist, she only has one weapon assist actually. You get the water sub attribute and a VDP. So if you're matching VDPs, which is not quite the thing for water-based teams, it could be potentially valuable overall. For Roach in her banned form, after transforming with no skill boost in her base form, you are able to have triple 10 combo, triple TPA, 2 attack while below 50%. Basically, every awakening is for hitting hard with a large attack set. So she does explosive amounts of damage. Her active skill on a 6-turn cooldown gives you a reduce HP by 50%, voids attribute absorption for 2 turns, and damage absorption for 2 turns, and changes her damage cap to 4 billion. So, if you need an absorption solution, she can be a wonderful solution for mono dark or even rainbow-based teams if you can squeeze in those TPAs if you think about it. Like, she's going to be hitting stupendously hard, especially with that damage cap increasing for a transforming card. It's going to be able to deal monstrous amounts of damage. For her leader skill, you do get kind of a scaling combo multiplier, and I guess it is respectable overall. Oh, sorry, it's a scaling attack and combo multiplier. So if you match sets of 4 wood or dark orbs, your damage and combos go up. Maybe that could be something. Again, whenever you have a scaling attack multiplier, it gives the card chances to be utilized in super gravity dungeons. For her weapon assist, it's 2 TPAs with 2 skill bind resist. So maybe if you have a team of only Halloween Cottons who don't have skill bind resist, who knows, maybe this could be a pretty cool thing. But the active skill is still 3 turns of damage and attribute absorption cancellation, and makes 4 of every type of attribute, including hard orbs. So could be useful weapon assist. For Valyria, she has the ideal awakenings for a transforming card because she has 7 skill boosts and then transforms after 28. But either way, it gets everyone else transformed in a timely fashion. And once she is transformed, she's got double 10 combo, full blind and full jam resist, and an L awakening. So pretty great spread of awakenings overall, along with 2 seconds of orb movement time. A nice spread of weighted stats. Her active skill is a looping attack buff that only works if you have lots of dragon types on your team. So you're kind of capped to a certain extent of how many dragon types you can squeeze on a given team. So it's not the largest attack multiplier, unfortunately, but it's still an attack multiplier nevertheless. And it gives you a single turn of spinners. It'd been nicer if the spinners lasted longer because a looping spinner means you can fish out orbs easily. For her leader skill, you have a 4.3 times stat multiplier if all cards are the same rarity, and then you gain a scaling attack multiplier for every set of linked 5 orbs. Maybe if you populate your team with say Blue Fagin Rise or that ideal from this event, you can in theory get many 5 orb matches, and then I guess you could make the argument that you could asymmetrically pair if you want bonus combos. Point of the matter is, it is an interesting leader skill, and it's unfortunate these 6-star cards who I think are quite exciting are slapped into the middle rarity, so you can't even monster exchange for them. Her weapon assist gives a dragon typing like virtually every other weapon assist in this event, and 4 team RCVs, which is a colossal amount of healing, and then 2 turns of haste and bonus 5 combos for 3 turns. Not bad there. And then finally we come to Millie, and Millie is the last of the new cards, and after transforming after 20 turns, it does give you a full cleric active skill, so if you can time that right, pretty helpful there. But when transformed, she's got triple 10 combo, 100% poison resist, and it's a 5-turn cooldown with a full cleric style active skill of unmatchable awoken skill binds. So you don't get regular binds, but you get all the important stuff. And then you get a 35% damage reduction shield for a single turn, and then 1.5 times attack for a single turn. So as far as a cleric goes, a pretty solid cleric all around. For her leader skill, you need to match 4 plus light combos for 40 times attack multiplier. MyON did that at 3. It's a little bit more awkward overall, and you also need to match a cross of light. Kind of wild. Either way, her weapon assist has team HP, double team RCV, cloud resist, and 1.5 times orb movement time for 10 turns, and then 3 turns of haste. So, it can be good at beginning of dungeons where you might get hit by a time debuff and you want to haste everyone up. And then finally, for the bottom rarity cards, they do have weapon assist. I can make the argument that Cruz's weapon assist could be good for Shiva Dragon teams if there are no binds in the dungeon, because Shiva Dragon is vulnerable to binds if I'm not mistaken, and this one obviously doesn't protect you, but it gives you Rose and 6,000 worth of auto healing. And if we've known, like, seen things from like Norza Kitty, we know auto healing is pretty darn important because you can swipe and not have to worry about hard orbs. Maybe with enough of this, if you don't get bound, this could be potentially useful on your Shiva Dragon teams. And the active skill does give you, I guess, a bunch of like orb generation, like hearts and fire orbs, as well as RCV, but I think it's more so for the awakenings. For Dolk, he's still a delay style active skill that does give you like a full spectrum of buffs, including time, RCV, and attack. New weapon assist gives you a 3 attribute, follow-up attack, water sub-attribute. Not a big fan of sub-attributes on rainbow-based cards because you oftentimes lose damage. Laud's weapon assist, like, I don't know, nothing particularly spicy. Like, I think I'll just make these weapon assists and I'll just, like, forget about them existing. Lata is still, I think, possibly the largest counterattack in the game, but we're not really... It had, like, some niche uses, I guess, beforehand, but it's kind of like... I don't know. Weapon assist-wise, their active skills don't really accomplish too much overall, so you're kind of just using them for the awakenings, and maybe you can make some arguments that the first one could be good with a TPA, Team HP, Double Team RCV for TPA-oriented teams, but kind of middling. And remember, these bottom rarity cards, which I don't think are particularly exciting, do comprise 37% of the rolling pool, but then again, if you think about it, the rolling rates are not bad for getting higher rarity cards. It's just like, are you going to get like the ones that are particularly useful to yourself? Again, many of these cards I feel fall into the category of it's nice to own, they can be strong, but they're not super worth pursuing, especially for a 10 Magic Stone price tag. If this was like, say, 7 or 6 Magic Stones, I'd be much more inclined to roll, but at 10 stones, I think it's a bit too costly. But with that being said, let me know what you, ladies and gentlemen, think about this event in the comment section down below. Do you think it's actually worth rolling in? And if you did roll in it, what were you chasing and what did you acquire? Regardless of all that, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.